Bill 9 will invoke the Canadian Charter's notwithstanding clause and to amend and uphold 3 critical pieces of legislation without further court delay or uncertainty. This government does not turn to the notwithstanding clause unless the stakes warrant it. And in this case, the stakes could not be higher. This is one of the most consequential actions our government will take during our time in office. These measures reflect the views of an overwhelming majority of Albertans, and it is our responsibility to make sure that they are not overturned. This is not a hypothetical discussion. This suite of legislation is in active litigation right now. At this moment, we have 3 lawsuits working their way through the courts with 1 injunction in place. These lawsuits could take years to resolve, including possible appeals to the Supreme Court. These delays are not acceptable to this government when children are in harm's way.
We wanted to essentially come down and talk a little bit about this awful thing. Bill 9, look how small that is. Look how thin that is. In only 2 pages, this Premier shreds any credibility she has as a libertarian. In only 2 pages, this government says they don't care about your fundamental human rights. It's disgusting. We've had a Premier who has pretended through her long career that she believes in people's fundamental human rights. And anytime those human rights are inconvenient or with a group that she deems unpopular out of the mainstream, whether it's teachers, workers, and now vulnerable trans kids, she's willing to give up those rights. Albertans deserve so much better than that.
Every Canadian should be outraged by this. The notwithstanding clause was never intended to be a tool for governments to override rights simply because they know they will lose in court. In Canada, we value the balance between our political and judicial systems. Both are pillars of our democracy. If we allow this to continue, nobody's rights are safe. Yesterday it was teachers. Today it's trans youth and all trans people. Tomorrow it could be women's health, reproductive rights, racial minorities, or anyone that doesn't fit the government's ideology. This is not about politics. It's about the kind of country we want to live in. We call on every Albertan and every Canadian to speak out, defend the Charter, defend human rights, because if we don't, the very foundation of our democracy is at risk.